Okay, well, I have been studying nutrition since 1970, and I started intermittent fasting in 1968. So I have a lot to say, you know, about these subjects and how they relate to stock trading. But I also think, since I wanted to make a movie that I could contribute to trading teachers, because there are so many wonderful trading teachers who've really given me so much, and I'm very grateful, and I thought that I would reciprocate their gifts by at least, sending this movie to them. It's seemed like the least I could do. And I think because they may be somewhat curious but not really want to watch the whole movie, maybe I should not bury the lead in this movie. So here's the lead, okay? I will say, if you don't already know this, that when you're trading, you have to immediately, before you buy or sell anything, and probably this is what I do before the market opens, you've got to take supplements that reduce your tendency to squirt lots of cortisol into your blood. And there's two of them that I can name right now. There's lots of them. And those two are magnesium and ashwagandha. And I'm very surprised when I listen to traders talking, and I guess I started trading when I was 3, actually, really, because that's when my mother had me reading the quotes from a board. They put them up on boards in those days, and she couldn't see the board, so she put me on her shoulders and I was reading her the quotes. And I started wanting to guess what the price action was going to do. And that was when I became a price action trader, in those early, brokerage houses in Miami. Anyway, as far as the nutrition goes, there's a lot of good nutritional advice on YouTube and on the web in general. The best one, and I never learned for all those many years, like when I bought my first juicer in 1970 in the spring, and I had my first big glass of juice, and I just fell asleep. It was the most amazing thing, I was in the jewelry business at the time, and my assistant was there assembling jewelry, and I was in this tenement in Lower Manhattan, like a 2-room tenement, and I had the typical thing. I don't know if you've ever lived in New York, but like the bed was in the living room, and so was the tub, and I just laid down. And later I woke up like 2 hours later, and she said, I came in here and you were asleep. It's like, so she just was quiet. And I realized that any kind of nutritional change would have a profound effect on me. And I think that traders don't realize that your thinking is being affected by stress hormones that you're producing, and also you're rewarding yourself with dopamine. And there was this woman I was listening to, and she was saying that she would get dopamine hits from shorting, and she liked that, so she became a short seller. And then she realized that you could also go long, and you could make money. And so I think that she had a very big insight at that point, and probably changed her life and her trading just from seeing that. That she's a Tory, that's a trader I like who makes short movies. So I will say that your movies and your lessons have not only helped me be a better trader, and I see that's the interesting thing, is this stuff that I've been getting from YouTube and from the web generally has made enormous improvements in both my diet and my trading. Yeah, so the doctor that I recommend, who's a chiropractor, his name is Dr. Berg. A lot of chiropractors do nutrition, and he's brilliant, and not only brilliant, but he just does a deep dive into everything. I mean, I just watched a movie he made about B12 and the kind not to take, and it blew me away. There's just so much to know, and I was dependent on books, and I was listening to Mark Minervini, and he was saying back when he started, and me too, all you had was books, and you had to draw your own charts, and yeah, I did that, and so on. And my God, things have changed for the better. As far as digging out all your nutritional stuff, I mean, I've done things that helped. Well, see, I didn't get the solution to my cortisol problem from a movie. It was just something I knew that I got from reading Back to Eden, and I got hemorrhoids and cured those with magnesium, by raising my magnesium and eliminating calcium. And Berg says you need calcium, and I get calcium only from food. Only from food now. I do not, absolutely do not ever, and will not ever take a calcium supplement ever again. I really crippled myself with those. So there are just a lot of things not to do and things to know not to do. Nutrition is it's a loaded gun. It's a usable hand grenade. Be careful with your nutrition. But I wanted to tell this. I collect stories about stock traders, and there's a famous story about, which may not be so famous to you because it was something that happened back more like in my day, which was, this guy was a floor trader on the New York Stock Exchange, I think, or one of the exchanges. And he was 32 and he dropped dead of a heart attack. And it wasn't even like a really notable day, it was just his deficiency, probably of magnesium. The thing is, when they did studies and they found when you have high calcium and low magnesium, you're likely to have a severe heart attack. When you have low calcium and high magnesium, if you have a heart attack at all, it's likely to be very mild. So this is what I wanted to say to any traders who are listening to this. It's just a simple statement, which is I listen to a lot of videos with you, and I am shocked. This is why I made this movie, because I'm shocked that I never heard anybody say this. Get rid of the cortisol. Let yourself have some cortisol. You need it increases your perceptiveness and wakes you up. It's good. And you start producing cortisol in the morning. But before you start trading, also, and another thing, you gotta do a deep dive on sleep. I hear traders, and a lot of them are young and they can do this, but they talk about getting up at 3 o'clock, and like their trading time is 3 o'clock in the morning to 6 a.m. and so on, which isn't bad. The problem is if you then go to sleep afterwards instead of waking up early and trading. And if your trading time is going to be 3 a.m., maybe make it 4, and you've got to exercise when you wake up. Just get that oxygenate your brain, and also hang over the bed and let the blood flow down, or use an inversion table, which I also have, or whatever, or do your forearm stand, which is a very nice thing to do a few times throughout the day. My God, I've done those I've been doing those since probably 1978. I started doing forearm stands. So, okay, that's my contribution, and since I didn't hear anybody else saying it, I figured this was worth making this movie.